things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. So during the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubt that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubt. And I have my doubt that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubt. But they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. So roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. And I have my doubts. So I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. And I have my doubt that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening, Watchmen and Watchwomen of Patreon and YouTube. Let me turn this down a little bit. Well, at least today was considerably warmer and nicer than the last couple of days. So tomorrow, I believe, is going to be even warmer yet. Looking forward to that. I just absolutely hate this weather that we've had. We actually had to turn the furnace back on to stay warm last night. So that it. Thank goodness I could turn it off today, and I don't think we'll need it tonight. And I think we'll be able to squeak by, and we'll be good from there. So Anyway, as far as any updates here are concerned, I've actually got a ton of updates, and some of them involve the topic. So, first off, uh, working on projects. I've got the next Patreon video project sitting behind me. That would be a seed germination video. So it's doing its thing, and so that's probably going to be the next video. That'd be a Patreon video. That'd be a Patreon only video. And I've got several projects. Today, I posted the picture. I did post a picture on Patreon of I have been wanting to build a hybrid hydroponic bed, similar, something very similar to what I'm doing on a smaller scale, but I wanted to do it on just a little bit of a larger scale, on a scale that would take up the size of the small tent. And so, anyway, the big thing was the stand, at least to start out with, was the stand. And the reason that was such a big deal was because of the cost of lumber and all of that right now. I didn't know what I was going to build it out of, because I don't want to I don't have a fortune to put in it. And if I did, I wouldn't want to put a fortune into it. I want to do this as economically as I can. So I've been trying to decide how or what I want to build this stand out of, and I'm telling you, I've been so scatterbrained lately. And again, we'll Jin Pisaki circle back to that in a moment. But I've got the perfect stand. I've had the perfect stand. I had a coffee table that had a glass top that I was using to work on, and I no longer I use the glass top still, but I don't use the coffee table part anymore, and so it's absolutely the perfect size, and it's made out of metal, so it's going to be plenty strong enough, and so good to go on that. And that was kind of a big part of it. Now what's next is figuring out what containers, how I'm gonna mount the containers and whatnot in it. So just one thing at a time. But the stand was a big thing, and I already had it, so that's awesome. I'm trying to find containers if possible. It'd be nice to be able to find containers I could just slide in there and be perfect size, and the outside ridge of the container would, hold up right on the. That'd be sweet, but that's probably not going to happen. So, in a much more realistic world, I have to find containers that I can work with to mount them in there, and still be easy enough to run my drains and all of that good stuff. So, that I will be working on. Trying to think. As soon as I can afford to buy the kit, I ran into something on Amazon. I just happened to run into it. It's a kit that comes with a ton of different types of USB ports. Well, my little like Rock Pals knockoff thingy. Hang on. This thing here, my little power bank, right? It's got, or it's supposed to have, 4 USB ports on it. Well, back when I set up our tent last summer, I set up our tent and we'd stayed out in it and stuff like that, and I had that box out there. I had a USB plug plugged into the very bottom USB port, and I accidentally hit it with my foot, and it broke the stupid plastic piece that's inside the USB port. So I have to replace the port. So I found a good deal on a kit that comes with a ton of ports because it's a specific one, and being able to identify that specific one, of course the type is easy, but I'm talking about how it mounts to the board and the length and the width. Yeah, well, the width's going to be the same, but some of them are deeper than others and all that. So anyway, just easier for $18 to buy the kit and know that there's a 99.9% chance I'm going to have the right one in there. So the reason I'm telling you about this is because that will most certainly be another project video that I put out. So it's just another one of those skills that I have, and if somebody else can learn anything from it, that's great. So don't know of any more updates other than kind of a big one. So, and this is going to go in hand with tonight's topic. Let's see, June, this month we're coming on to, I'm going to be doing my very best to do everything normal. July, the following month, for those on Patreon, what I'm going to do, and again, this isn't this coming month, so if you're a patron, don't worry, this coming month's not going to be any different. Hopefully it's going to be different in a better way, and I'm going to get more stuff out to you. So this coming month, don't worry about it, don't sweat it. The following month, there's an option, I do believe, in the back of Patreon that lets me kind of pause. And so, not this coming month, but next month, before it does the billing cycle, okay, before it does the billing cycle, I'll do it. I'm going to click that button, and I'm going to make it pause. So that means that on Patreon, there will be no charge for any of the patrons for the month of July. Okay? Because I am going to take a little bit of a break. When I say that, I'm not saying I'm going to disappear. What I'm saying is I want no commitments. I need to regroup in my head in every single way. And one of them is with the show, with both the YouTube side, Patreon side. I'm not doing this right. And I know I'm not. And so I need to figure it out. Also, and again, goes into the topic that I'm going to be talking about, I need a mental rest. One of the most important things that a person can have the ability to do is to know when to say when. I suck at it. I will push myself, and I will push myself, and I will push myself. And let me explain where I feel I am in a way that you may understand. Imagine I was, and I don't know shit about sports. Imagine I was a football player. Imagine I was I don't know, the guy that catches it, quarterback throws it, and I guess a receiver. And I catch the damn thing. And I've got two people right there that bam, they're on me. But I'm good. I'm on my feet and I'm moving. Although they're right with me, I'm moving. And then two more people come in. Man, that's rough. Now I'm having to try to drag them to the goal. Okay? And each step that I take is getting harder and harder and harder. And at some point, you'll collapse and you'll hit the ground because you can't bear it anymore. I'm trying not to collapse. I honestly feel like I'm not real far from it. So I just need to regroup. And that's the self-care part of what I'm going to be talking about. This is an area that I excel in. And yes, even though that there are individuals that excel in things like mental health and psychology, doesn't mean that they're invincible to it or imperilous to it. They're just as susceptible to it as anybody else. And sometimes I would almost argue more. And so I know what tools I have to pull out of my toolbox to start the repairs. But the first thing that I have to do is release those commitments. And that way, for instance, if I'm involved in something that is helping me, I don't want to have to just, let's say I get started on it and then it's like, it's almost time for the show. I got to quit and go and do the show. I'm going to, and it's a poor example and I apologize, but I am going to be able to complete tasks without having to stop. That'd be a big help, There are a couple of things that are old hobbies of mine, and I may somehow try to figure out how to take up one of them again, and I think that'll help. That's the big thing, and one thing I want to relay to you. If you find yourself in that position, if there is something that you just enjoy for whatever reason, if you can focus on doing that, and I know it sounds stupid and you've heard it a million times before, but if you can focus on trying to do that, it does help, but you have to let it help. That's, the number one thing, and I guess this is probably important to say, the number one thing with mental health is you have to actually want to be better. That's kind of the whole point. If you don't want to be better and you're going through all the motions, well, you're looking for attention. Plain and simple. I'm old school psychology. Sorry, I don't do this new school blame game, go take a pill. Okay? Because a lot of times blame can be turned right around. And so that's why it's not a good idea to approach psychology with a, let's see who we can blame mindset. The reason I find that humorous is because when I was studying textbook psychology, I should say, I guess best worded, there was a big change going on in the world of psychology, and it went from psychology to where people would search for the root of the problem and then address the root, which of course is the way you fix it, right? Works wonders. Then sometime in the 90s, mid-90s, it really started to make a swing. And it started to become a different form of psychology, and now it was blame game, take a pill. and it's been that way ever since. And now it's that way on steroids. Okay. So I wanted to say that because I am old school with this stuff, and you know, a lot of people complain that psychology doesn't work, and that's a lot due to the new psychology. And yeah, I mean, if you're just going to point fingers and then take medication so you feel better about things, it's not going to fix the problem. You know, got to address the problem. But anyway, working on hobbies is a good thing for that. And that can be a little bit of a frustrating thing in itself for me, because what I used to do many, many moons ago is I'd pick up a guitar and I would sit and play and I'd write music, and it's the most soothing thing you could ever imagine. I can't play no more. I can play for maybe about 4 minutes, 3-4 minutes, before my hand hurts too bad and I can't fret the guitar anymore. So, yeah. Oh, I suppose I could say what hobby. I might try to maybe build a model rocket or two. I don't know. I haven't done it in years, and it was just something that when I did it, it just, I don't know, put me at a peace. I love flight, and I love paying. I like detail. I like paying attention to detail. I like precision. And all that stuff is really important. So I don't know, but I just need to recharge, regroup. That being said, not going anywhere. And I'm not saying that there's not going to be anything going on for the month of July. I'm not saying any of that at all. What I'm saying is, I don't want commitments. So that means if I don't want to come on and do the nightly show, I won't be on and do the nightly show. Plain and simple. I don't want to be pushed to try to get any content out or anything like that. This is just for the month of July. And that's why I'm going to pause Patreon for July, and then you know, go from there. So I'm sure August will be back to normal. Everything will be good. But one of the things I really need to work on hard, and I'm struggling with this, and it's one reason why I think it's probably best if I just kind of be able to pull myself back away from it, is trying to figure out how I'm going to do this between Patreon and YouTube. I am struggling with this. Because I never wanted to go to any type of subscription thing. But I didn't have a choice if I wanted to do projects and show folk stuff. But I'm in a catch-22. There's really not enough there at Patreon to really do a whole hell of a lot. You know, as far as it comes in per month. So as far as putting that towards projects, yeah, 2 or 3 months worth built up, yeah, that might be enough for me to do a project. Okay. And I'm not, I wouldn't complain that, but that's going to be awful crap for you guys. So, I don't know. I got to figure it out. So, I've already kind of got some stuff worked through, but we'll see. That's why I need to take them on, so I can figure it all out. So let's get on topic and be on topic and not talking about me. What about mental health, self-care before and after SHTF? Well, clearly we should probably talk about before first. And I want to lead by example. I always tell everybody I try to lead by example, and it blows my mind. I don't see a whole hell of a lot of people on this planet actually doing what the fuck they say they do. Yet, crazy. Um, Self awareness, huge. And that's what you need before. Well, you need it after SHTF too, obviously, but if right now you're struggling, as I am, you might want to get aware of it and deal with it. And by the way, it's not just my issue that the one. It's not just my head. Man, I'm the other way I feel. I was giving you the example, and I need to explain myself better. And I apologize for that because I don't always explain myself well. In fact, I often don't. When I was giving you the example of the football player, the whatever receiver, whatever, trying to drag the people, that's not just a mental thing. Okay, when that came out of my mouth, most of that I was visualizing and having you visualize was physical. Okay, I didn't think to mention that, so that's probably important to mention. I am in a hell of a lot of pain. A lot. And it's not just pain, it's stiffness. And it hurts. It hurts. I'm at the point to where, yeah, I'm calling uncle, or close to it. I hate to say that I am yet, but I'm close to it. It's just, it's ridiculous. I should not have the troubles that I am moving my hands or any of this. So, and I know taking a month off ain't gonna, or not, I'm not taking a month off. I'm taking a month with no commitments. I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. But I need that break. But back to the topic. I'm sorry I'm all over the place. I'm telling you, I'm scatterbrained. I'll be able to make it through this month. But, I'm gonna have to have a break. So that's the first thing, is knowing when. Or knowing that you need to say when, and then knowing on top of that when to say when. Also knowing what tools in your toolbox work. What do I mean by that? Probably the most important thing I ever learned in psychology, and the most important thing I could ever tell anybody in psychology, is the words that just came out of my mouth. It may not sound like much, but it saved my life. I struggled really bad. Really, really bad. And as a teen, young adult, and stuff like that. I've had PTSD for, I don't know, I couldn't tell you. I guess since I was teen or something. But, so I've struggled with it throughout my life. And, anyway, what the hell was I? There's something specific I was going to tell about that. Telling you I need a rewind button on my own show. I'm telling you, I'm beat, I'm tired, I'm mentally exhausted like you wouldn't believe. Hang on, I'm working on getting back to it. Howdy, Metal. I hope you have a great weekend as well. Hell. Tools in the toolbox. Sorry. And here I'm telling you, like, most important thing I could tell you about psychology, and then I get... Never mind. I'm an idiot sometimes. So, I knew it was important, and that's why I sat there and rewound. My brain's weird. So anyway, tools in a toolbox. So I learned a long time ago when I dealt with these issues. That's why I was telling you about the issues. I learned a long time ago in dealing with these issues that they're cookie cutter bullshit. And pardon my language, I'm just going to be frank with you. Their cookie cutter bullshit just didn't cut it. And no matter what they would tell me to do or try, it wouldn't help. And so I finally found out on my own that that's exactly what it is. It's an individual, it is an independent thing, and it can be something that, something you don't expect. And I call them tools. And what those tools are little things that you have to find yourself. You have to actively work to find these things yourself that help you. And it's a good idea to do that in good times, to do that now in good times, so that you have those tools in your toolbox for bad times. And that could be anything from certain songs you like to sing. And when I say certain songs you like to sing, I'm not talking about to an audience. I'm talking about while you go take a walk or whatever. It could be certain hobbies. It could be anything. It could be reading the Bible. It could be any number of things. But what's important is to know those tools and to use those tools and to keep those tools set apart from your normal activities. In other words, you don't want it to be something that you're going to get tired of doing, or that, you're going to want it to be effective for as long as it can be effective. Because I've learned over the course of my life that as time goes on, at least for me, and from what I've observed with others, that these tools change over time. Mine certainly have. So you need to do this stuff before. You need to locate what I call these tools, ways that you can help yourself deal with stress and anxiety and all the other fun stuff. Sadness, that's going to be a big one. You have to find these tools. When I'm saying that I'm where I'm at mentally right now, it's probably a different place than where a lot of people are when they get bogged down like this. I am just literally mentally exhausted. I'm tired. My brain needs to relax. I need not be I just need to take a break. I just need to. Uh, I research. I investigate a lot. My brain is constantly buzzing with activity, and um, it's overworked, plain and simple. And I'm not getting enough sleep. My diet's crap, and it has been for my entire life. And I'm just wore out. So, but that's what I'm saying. You need to be able to identify these things beforehand. You need to know what to do to mitigate them. And afterwards, now this is where I wanted to more focus. This is insanely important. Okay? After SHTF, if you're working with a group of people, which I'm going to go with that because I'm assuming that we are all going to be working with a group of people, I really don't think we've got many lone wolves roaming these parts that are going to be successful at it anyway. It is of utmost importance that after an SHTF event, that if you find yourself in any kind of position, like a mental, what's the right word? Not crisis, but let's just say you're having issues. It's something that you certainly want to get out there right away. You need to let whoever is in charge of your group or whatever know right away. And hopefully, if they're a good group whatsoever, they've already got this worked into the plans. But yeah, I mean, essentially, you need to do the same thing. You need to take a break. And it's more important then than what it is now. Because the stakes are awful high then. My stakes for taking a break, what are my stakes for taking a break? Oh, I won't collect Patreon funds for the month of July, and I'll still be, I'm sure, putting out some Patreon content. Even though I won't be charging for it, I'll still be putting out content. I just don't want to be obligated to it. So that's it. But after SHTF, stakes get a lot higher. A lot higher. So, talking with you, and I've had this issue, and I'm sure that you guys have seen this for the past, I don't know how long, maybe 3 weeks or a month or so. I am so scatterbrained, I'll say something and completely forget what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. And believe me, I've noticed. I noticed from the first time. Because that's not me. And so, like I say, it's important, especially more important afterwards, though, that you identify it and you deal with it. And the reason why is I was telling you about the scatterbrain thing. Imagine if I was on watch. Imagine if I was on watch and got scatterbrain. Imagine if I'm supposed to be overlooked, protecting my people, and I'm off in La La Land thinking about this, that, and the other thing, and literally miss the person that walked right in front of me. Because believe me, you can get that distracted that somebody can walk right past you. And I know, seen it happen. Ask me how I know. So it's a huge risk And that's why I wanted to talk about it. Now, the other part of and I did want to talk, and actually I went way longer than what I intended because we got a bunch of headlines tonight too. The other part of it is to make sure that you put back things that you can use for self-care, especially for mental health. Whenever you hear me talk about food, okay, I always talk about make sure you put back some comfort foods. Do it all the time. Talk about it all the time. Why? Because it's that important. It's that important, and that's why. That's why. If you're just having an absolute crap day, being able to sit down at the end of that crap day and enjoy your favorite candy bar or whatever, your favorite snack, whatever. That's going to mean the world. That's going to be in the world. Me personally, one thing that I did was make sure to have a fairly big library of music and actually movies. I don't have a huge library of movies, but I've got a fairly large library of music. And one of the things that I think is going to be insanely important, and again, this is after SHTF, is that we go back to some of the old ways of doing things. And one of those being, years ago, they used to have barn dances. And, you would have people from around the community get together with their instruments, and that's exactly what would go on. They would sit around in the barn with their instruments, play music, drink moonshine, and have a dance, right? And it was one of the best ways for them to just be able to unload and unwind and unpack all that crap that had happened since the last barn dance. And we don't think about those things today because we've got so many other things to occupy our minds and to distract us. We don't need barn dances anymore. But when you take away the electricity and you take away the cell phones and the computers and all the other goodies, and when every day is one of those days because you have to work your ass off all day and every day just to be able to provide food and all the other things that it takes to survive, you're going to need those breaks. And so that's one reason I urge people to put that in consideration. I'm not just talking about the every prepper and their brother talks about, make sure you've got games for the kids and have a deck of cards. Well, yeah. But you're going to want to take it further than that. Do people in your group know how to play an instrument? Well, you need to work this stuff out. If you've got a bug out location and Bob knows how to play the guitar, guess what? You need to get a guitar at the bug out location for Bob. Okay? And the same goes true for anyone that knows how to play any instrument. And that way, you can be that barn dance band to be able to provide that. And believe me, it is probably more therapeutic than you could ever imagine. What we experience today is a joke. It is so distanced. It is so... If you want to know the difference, just go to a concert. That's all you got to do. Go to a concert. It's not the same. Not the same. But you'll see what I'm talking about, the difference between listening to a whatever, CD, MP3, or whatever, and actually being live in concert. Trust me. Anywho, when you're a smaller group of people, say in a barn or a garage, it's even better. It's better than that concert, okay? I think so. I always thought so. Anyway, guess I'll probably just jump to headlines. I am tired. I'm beat. I want to do my headlines and I wished I could get back to sleep after my bladder wakes me up. Ugh. So frustrating. That's part of my problem too. All right. Go ahead and throw on my glasses and do some headlines and do some Coke line. No, I'm kidding. If I had Coke lines, I wouldn't be here wishing I could lay my head on the desk and go to sleep. There we go. Fun. Let's see. All right. Obviously starting out with Friday stuff. Big tech lobbies sue Florida over new law that seeks to punish social media firms for censorship, shadow banning, and deplatforming. By the way, I don't know if I said Friday, right? Canadian MP says sorry for urinating while on Zoom call, his second exposure on camera in as many months. This whole Zoom meeting thing and people doing odd things is kind of... Berlin pledges reparations after recognizing Namibia's genocide carried out by German colonial troops. South Korea protests over inclusion of disputed islands on Tokyo 2020 Olympic torch relay map. Politicians propose games boycott. OPEC Plus set to proceed with plans to boost July oil production. Russia's foreign exchange reserves reach record $600 billion. Thailand approves Chinese Sinopharm coronavirus jab, importing 1 million doses in June. Cities have unique microbial signature, scientists say, as study discovers thousands of new viruses and bacteria. Now, this is something that I was trying to point out some months ago. Not a real super long time ago. 3-ish, 4-ish months maybe. So why is it important for me to point this out? So there was concern that with these with the knowledge that came out with COVID and everything that went on with COVID and the things that were going on, it came out that China may be involved with trying to find out more about like our gut bacteria. Okay, and one of the things that you can do by gut bacteria is be able to tell the region, the specific region that somebody lives. Okay, so the concern there is and I'm not a doctor, I don't know all the details of all this stuff, but the concern there is that you could actually be able to isolate whatever it is that shows where they're from and be able to target that. In other words, you could put out a bioweapon, for instance, that would target somebody, that would specifically target people that had, for instance, a specific like gut bacteria that was from a certain area. See what I'm saying? And so I had brought it up again maybe 3-ish, 4-ish months ago, something like that. I had brought it up, and now we're seeing this come up in the news. Now, this should be a huge surprise for everybody, but back when we were talking about what I just talked about, they said it wasn't true. I know you're shocked that they actually flip-flopped on something. I know you're shocked, I know. But yeah, back when I was talking about that, they were saying that was untrue. That China wasn't doing that, and that they, in fact, I believe they were saying something about you couldn't, that wasn't even feasible. Pardon me. All right, still on Friday's news, former Google employees who sued tech giant over gender pay gap win class action status in case estimated at $600 million. Let's see. Twitter lists paid subscription service on App Store, rekindling debate about whether new features are worth paying for. Beijing accuses Tokyo of whitewashing plans to dump nuclear wastewater into sea as Japan reportedly blows $18 million on PR op. Knife-wielding attacker injures policewoman in Nantes, France. Suspect on the run, says a report. Again, this is Friday's news. Indigenous Amazonian tribes could show us the way to fight off effects of aging. SpaceX competitor sounds alarm over Musk's alleged de facto monopolization of low Earth orbit. A U.S. pursuing groundless territorial dispute in Russia's Far East, says top Moscow security chief, months after warship incursion. Too much hype over environmental friendliness. Former energy minister says Russian gas 4 times cleaner than American LNG. Hungarian PM Orban's trip to UK sparks protests from Labour and Liberal Democrats and ignites debate online. Tinder for anti-vaxxers, injected dating app to create safe space for COVID unvaccinated users. Intelligence services, I don't even know if I can say that word anymore. Intelligence services drawing scientific conclusions. China slams U.S. plans to publish new report on COVID-19 origins. Alton man wants to know why police were rummaging through his house. This is Alton is a city here or town here in Illinois. I'm sure there's many Altons around the whole nation, but here particular in Illinois, yeah. So apparently, I don't know. I guess this guy was violating some ordinance violations, and I think he was in a battle with the city over the ordinance violation kind of stuff. But that has nothing to do with the cops coming in his home and rummaging through things and all that, and actually throwing stuff. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. Messed up. UK doctors call for special surgery hubs to address colossal COVID-19 backlog of operations. Goma also deserted as thousands flee on foot after scientists warn of catastrophic limnic eruption. Or limnic. Representative Gates accused of inciting violence against Silicon Valley after a misleading video of Second Amendment remarks go viral. Still on Friday's news. Hey, JJ. I don't know why you wouldn't be... I don't know if you got the little bell thing clicked or not, or... I don't know. To be honest, I don't get most notifications for most channels I'm sub to. So, and I mean, I'm talking about the ones that I got the little bell rung. I don't get most notifications, to be honest. I don't get the emails or... So, yeah. And that's like when you guys, we don't get a lot of comments on videos and stuff, but when people comment on videos and stuff, most of the time it doesn't tell me. I have no idea. I know, look, but I just, I don't think to look. I never think to look. Believe it or not, I'm not a social media person. I'm not a social butterfly. Not whatsoever. Read that one. IDF brags of waging first AI war, lending credence to view that Gaza serves as testing ground for Israel's fighting techniques. And there's a lot of stuff when it comes to warfare that's coming out lately, not necessarily related to that or them. Australian man arrested after performing dangerous burnout gender reveal stunt on public road. Yeah, I'm one of those people that I'm all about letting people do what they want as long as they don't harm others. But, man, some of these people need to use their heads with some of this. I don't get it, though. But there again, I don't understand the whole gotta keep up with the Joneses mentality anyway. So, which is largely what it is. Everybody's trying to top the other one, you know. Let's see. Study shows humans can reduce their biological age by 3 years in just 8 weeks. Belarusian tycoon launches multi-million-dollar crowdfunding campaign to arrest embattled leader Lukashenko after flight debacle. Indian variant COVID-19 spike in Scotland and Glasgow remains under tougher curbs with cases uncomfortably high. A single-dose Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine formally approved in the UK by drugs regulator. Scientists sound alarm over unprecedented mercury accumulation in Pacific Ocean trenches. A Russian LGBT network in court as St. Petersburg prosecutors demand its Facebook page be blocked for negative impact on kids. That's what they're doing in Russia. In Russia, right, they're talking about blocking this stuff for the negative impact they have on kids. What are they doing in the United States of America? They're putting this crap in our education systems. They're literally teaching it directly. To hell with negative impact, they're mainlining it. Taiwan aims to inoculate 60% of the population against COVID-19 with 1 dose by October amid spike in domestic cases. Unvaccinated people made to pay $999.99 for Florida concert, while vaccinated pay $18. Bitcoin tumbles below $36,000 as crypto markets extend losses after tumultuous week. That word. More than 30 members of Congo's parliament have died from COVID-19, says senior lawmaker. DUP fails to secure official leader's Twitter account for Edwin Poots after ouster of Arlene Foster, and now it's a parody. Still on Friday. Belarus to erect vaccination tents at border for foreigners who wish to enter country to get Russian-made Sputnik 5 COVID-19 jab. EU gives TikTok a month to respond to concerns over aggressive child-targeted ads. UK PM accused of significant failing but cleared of violating ministerial code by inquiry into Downing Street refurbishment cost. Russian court sentences ex-police officers to up to 12 years behind bars for planting drugs in an attempt to frame Medusa journalist. Let's see. Russia to impose ban on cotton swabs. That, by the way, isn't that a little different than what they do things here in the United States too? So this guy, this police, these police officers, multiple, were going to plant drugs. That's all they were going to do. They were going to plant drugs on a journalist. And they received 12 years. Right? And we have a problem even getting a trial for the shooting of an unarmed person. And if we get a trial, most of the time, nothing comes of it. I know, we just had a big one recently where that wasn't the case. I'm sorry, but one don't cut it. Two don't cut it. "12 years for trying to plant drugs." Those are the laws that we need in this country. Laws that hold those accountable that are supposed to be holding us accountable. Because without them, you're not looking for peace, you're looking for control. Russia to impose ban on cotton swabs and plastic utensils as country begins crackdown on hard-to-recycle and non-recyclable products. Over 70% of Republicans blame Capitol riot on left-wing protesters trying to make Trump look bad, says a poll. Pope Francis sending team to investigate whether German diocese mishandled sexual abuse allegations amid public anger. EU drugs regulator approves Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine for use in children aged 12 to 15. EU, UK, and US join dozens of states in demanding answers over sexual abuse allegations against WHO staff. Reforesting the entire tropics would have little to no impact on climate change, new research finds. No, because the Earth is going through a cycle, and we aren't the one causing it. Court sides with white male restaurant owner who wasn't disadvantaged enough for Biden's coronavirus aid. Still on Friday, by the way. Putin says reaction to grounding of Ryanair flight is just a surge of emotions and talks with Belarus, the embattled leader, Lukashenko, UK Health Secretary technically broke ministerial code over COVID-19 contract awarded to sister's firm, says a report. Cargo ship breaks down in Suez Canal, but it's not as bad as the last time. Hunter Biden bragged about smoking crack with former D.C. mayor in leaked audio, says reports. UK posts more than 4,000 new COVID-19 cases for the first time in 2 months as infection rates creep up. Israeli soldiers shoot Palestinian dead during clashes in occupied West Bank, health officials say. Massive oil tanker blocks Bosphorus after steering controls reportedly malfunction. U.S. Capitol riot probe blocked as Senate Republicans use filibuster to stall action on bill creating 9/11-style commission. My whole life changed. Boxing icon Mike Tyson credits magic mushrooms with bringing him back from the brink of suicide. WADA pressures World Shooting Championships into moving showpiece from Russia despite warning about multi-million-dollar lawsuit. Microsoft president warns 2024 will look like 1984 if we don't stop AI police state. This is a Microsoft president. Poisoned by politics, WHO's emergencies chief calls for an end to disturbing discourse around probe into pandemic origins. Russia and Pakistan agree to build gas pipeline from Karachi to Lahore in biggest deal in decades. A self-serving stunt, Idaho governor returns home to revoke order banning mask mandate signed by his lieutenant while he was away. Autonomous drones may have hunted down and attacked troops in Libya without human control, says a UN report. Bill Cosby denied parole after refusing a sex offender treatment therapy. Still on Friday. Biden roasted for praising Virginia governor after calling for his resignation over blackface controversy. I gotta have a sip of tea. Let's see. Proof we're on right track. Russian drug developer welcomes similar COVID-19 therapy by Aussie team and says Russia is ahead. Cocaine-addled quail is only the beginning. Rand Paul warns of fallout from impossible to pay for inflation. Benefits outweigh the risk. Fauci accused of ramming through dangerous virus research funding without telling the White House. Hillary Clinton claims Capitol mob killed cop. Twitter reminds her that only person killed was a Trump supporter. He's right, you know. Vaccine passports for cross-border travel take off in Europe as U.S. looks very closely at concept but promises no mandates. CDC decrees that only fully vaccinated children can ditch their masks at summer camps. We have reached Saturday's news, which deserves a drink of tea and a vape. And a shot, but I don't have any alcohol and I don't really drink, so. I'd probably drink a shot. Let's see. Tennessee hat store promotes not vaccinated patch styled on Nazi yellow star, drawing condemnation and calls for boycott. I'm going to be real honest with you. I kind of want one. Just saying. Pentagon Special Forces nominee says U.S. should strongly consider training Taiwanese guerrillas against Chinese invasion. Russian economy to perform better than expected this year, says World Bank. Hybrid of UK and Indian coronavirus variants found in Vietnam, says the health minister. Amid pushback over platform merging update, WhatsApp backpedals on threat to lobotomize Messenger for refuseniks. Workplace testing reveals record level of cannabis use among employees as more states legalize weed. Well, no kidding. You know what? I guarantee you this. I guarantee there's a whole lot more people out there smoking it than what you know. Guarantee it. And even the states where it's been legalized, I guarantee there's a whole lot of people that still keeping hush hush about it for a multitude of reasons, whether it's just the stigma of it alone, or whether it's because, they don't want their job hearing and them being popped with a drug test even though they don't normally have them, or whatever. But there's still a lot of people that are being hush hush about it, even in the legal states. So, yeah, in those legal states, you're going to have a lot of people that are most certainly going to be partaking on the weekends and stuff, which is what I threw a fit about in the very beginning of this when they very first started pre-employment drug testing. I was screaming because it's not right that I can catch a buzz on the weekend and I'm screwed for 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks because I caught a buzz on the weekend. That's bullshit. And I was screaming about it then, before it even got started. I understand it on accidents, and I ain't going to say a word there. If you're involved in a workplace accident, especially where there's involving injury, break out the cup. Ain't got no problem with it. But we're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. And I know that applies to the government and the criminal court of law and all that bullshit. But we're supposed to be treating each other that way as well. Especially employers, because who the fuck are they? Anyway, we really need to take another look at that. They're not overlords. Speaking of that, they're not overlords. Nope. I'll be damned if I treat one like it. Navalny revolutionary zeal feeds global headlines, but most Russians prefer stability and steady change using local civic activism. Germany pumps $10 billion in hydrogen in bid to become global leader. Old rover looks at clouds. NASA's Curiosity detects unusual atmospheric phenomena on Mars and picks up dry ice puffs on or over red planet. I don't know why I have a problem reading that headline. Sometimes the way headlines are worded, I stumble on them real bad. A Virginia gym teacher placed on leave after refusing to say biological boy can be he was refusing to say, I wanted to make sure I said this right. He was refusing to say that a biological boy can be a girl at a school board meeting. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I said that right. U.S. reports it has imported sanctioned oil from Iran, a first after 30 years of sanctions. A Swiss bank to pay almost $80 million fine after admitting to money laundering charges linked to bribery scheme of football officials. Sorry. Let me have a sip. Wait a minute. Yeah, we're still on yesterday's news, sorry. Dubai coin surges 1,000% and nosedives in one day as Emirates government claims new crypto is a scam. A study spills the beans. A cup of joe's not enough for sleep-deprived people dealing with higher-level tasks. Second Congo volcano eruption found to be a false alarm just 1 week after volcanic catastrophe. Rutgers University condemns anti-Semitic hate, is then forced to apologize by pro-Palestinian students, sparking backlash online. Droves of lockdown protesters flood London for weekly Freedom March. Blatant censorship. Lawyer says story about competing with transgender athletes was changed after backlash from the woke mob. California cafe charging mask wearing customers an extra $5 to pay for collateral damage of COVID-19 restrictions. A cargo rocket launched into orbit by China will drop off stir-fried dishes for future space station staff. By the way, I need to back up here because I need to point something out, because I really do think it'll go over the heads of quite a few people. You hear me and others talk about second-class citizens, especially involving things like these vaccines and vaccine passports and all this stuff. So you hear me and others talk about second-class citizens. Well, spoiler alert, we've been playing the second-class citizen game for a whole hell of a long time. We've just been playing it with other things. You know? Most of the time we refer to it as the haves and the have-nots. So there is that. However, there is certainly something more going on when it comes to this whole vaccine passport thing and all that. But those that are going the opposite direction, those that are condemning those that choose to wear a mask or choose to get a vaccine, not any better. You're not any better. You claim to be a patriot. You claim to love freedom. Then you need to respect individual liberty. And that goes both ways. Both ways. Taxi of the future, Russian banking giant Sber enters driverless race with fully autonomous, eco-friendly car. I thought it was kind of cool looking. AMC, other movie theaters change remove mask mandates for vaccinated as critics melt down over liars who could break the honor system. So, and again, I'm asking you, please respect other people's decisions on what they choose. But when it comes to this, I'm at a loss here. So, at no point have I heard the CDC, WHO, Big Pharma, or anybody make the claim that after you get the vaccine, that there's no chance of you spreading it. In fact, just quite the contrary, that that getting the vaccine doesn't mean that you won't spread it to other people. And on top of that, it doesn't even mean that you're not going to get it. And this is coming to you from them. They are telling you that, and again, don't think I'm trying to dissuade anybody out of getting it if you choose to get it. Do you. Okay? You do you. But I'm telling you, there's a whole lot that ain't right with this. And if you can get it and still spread it, and meaning get the vaccine, and if you can get the vaccine and still get COVID, and the only benefit that you may have is a lighter case of it, then why are you trying to demonize others that don't choose to get it? Because all of the reasons why you are saying that we are horrible monsters are moot. Because you can spread it just as easily, meaning a vaccinated person can spread it just as easily as an unvaccinated person. At what point is the critical thought going to start? And we start asking, how come something's up. I don't know what the hell it is. I can't put my finger on it. But be careful of jumping on bandwagons and getting all emotionally involved in things, because cheerleaders are out there on the television and wherever getting you all worked up. Look at the facts, and I'm talking to people on both sides of everything. Look at the facts. And make sure that if you're fighting for what you believe in, that you're really fighting for what you think you are. Because the people demonizing those that don't want the vaccine, you have no point. There's no reason why we should be. It just makes no sense. You know what? This is here. COVID-19 is here. It's a part of our life now. And there will be more and more and more variants of it, just like there are influenza. And we will deal with it each and every year. That is a fact. And the more we try to vaccinate and fuck with it, the more variants there will be. One of these days, Mother Nature's going to get good and pissed off and go, bleep. Pentagon confirms footage of UFOs swarming around U.S. Navy warships is authentic. So they confirmed it. Texas teacher placed on leave after approving political yearbook cover including Black Lives Matter slogans. You know, I actually thought on this for a moment earlier when I put the headline out. And you have to understand, like I just talked about, I don't get all emotionally feely involved up into everything. Because when the moment you do that, you're making a mistake. I don't know that I got so much of an issue with this. No, I'm talking about being Black Lives Matter slogans on a yearbook. I don't know that I got so much of a problem with that. Why? It's their yearbook. It's not the school administrator's yearbook. Not the parents' yearbook. Not my yearbooks. Not your yearbook. Their yearbook. And if that is what they feel is one of the larger compelling things at this time, then they should damn well be allowed to document it. Fuck, I consider that in with the First Amendment, to be honest. Right? Freedom of expression. I'm just not real hip on, the kind of freedom that is only for those that agree with what I do. That's not freedom. That bothered me when I read that, because it's like, wait a minute, I mean, there are some things I could understand. There was a whole lot that didn't go into our yearbook. when I was in high school, but there was reasons why it didn't go into that yearbook, and it wasn't because of political reasons. We were totally out of control and vulgar, and yeah. Let's see. Passengers and crew jump overboard as ferry with 200 aboard gets consumed by inferno off on Indonesian coast. I don't know why I had so many problems with that one. Riders get trapped on Texas roller coaster for hours after sudden stop at sharp angle. U.S. warship fails to intercept mid-range ballistic missile target amid reports of Russian spy ship tracking the test. And I read this article and did some thinking. Lots of thinking. And, yeah, a little bit of research. Not a lot, though. I kind of think there might have been some toy playing. Possibly. So, I mean, who knows? We'll never know. But I think possibly there might have been some manipulating going on. So, because that's where it's at now. I mean, that's just a matter of fact. Warfare, the most effective warfare right now would be a technological warfare. It would be a, if you've got the ability to disable or hell, take over your enemy's weapons. I don't know. No Nazis in Nashville. Protesters besiege hat store. Brands cut ties with owner who brandished not vaccinated yellow star. I talked about her a little bit ago. Russia's... Oh, this is... sorry, we are to today's news. This is stuff I put out this morning. Russia's industrial production surges over 7% in April. Armed protesters march for reparations in Tulsa, Oklahoma, as the city marks 100th anniversary of Black Massacre. Europeans can now take a beach holiday, but does their summer relaxation signal a new wave of COVID contagions on the horizon? I don't know. Something's very up with this. 117 employees sue Houston Hospital Network over vaccination mandate and say they don't want to be guinea pigs. Tens of thousands march against President Bolsonaro's response to COVID in Brazil. Let's see. It's official. Bojo's cloak and dagger wedding to fiancée Carrie Simmons confirmed by Number 10. Let's see. Get these men a map. Stray U.S. soldiers raid Bulgarian plant making biofuel equipment in bungled exercise. 2 killed, more than 20 injured after Miami concert shooting. Police branded a targeted act of gun violence. Now, I read that, and I had to think about it. And I haven't reread the article, but I did read the article this morning, and there wasn't a whole lot there at the time. I should probably reread it again, but I got to thinking of that headline, and I'm like, targeted act of violence. No shit. You're kidding me, right? You kidding me? Targeted act of violence. It sounds to me like they're trying to make something that shouldn't concern you so much sound like something that should concern you so much. Why do I say that? Well, I didn't read the story after the details. In fact, I'm going to open it up in the tab and we're going to see. But before I read the details, I'm going to tell you that I suspect that this could be something, say, gang-related or drug-related or something, or somebody did something, somebody screwed up, and that's why it likely happened. Yeah. So, as long as you're not robbing people out of their crack money, you probably don't have to die or worry about dying from a bad crack deal death, right? I'm saying, I mean, bad things happen to people don't get involved in crack deals. I'm not saying, but come on. Anyway, let's see. Let me see if they say. No. Actually, they haven't updated a word of this. This is the exact same as it was earlier. Huh. Interesting. Government absolutely thinking about mandatory COVID jabs for health workers, says UK vaccine minister. Export of Russian crude to U.S. soared to 12-year high despite ongoing political tensions. Vietnam imposes tough social distancing rules, launches criminal probe after COVID-19 cluster linked to Christian church. COVID patient with 3 types of fungus, black, white, and rare yellow, dies in India. 300-plus officers join manhunt in rural France for ex-soldier hiding in the woods after firing at police. Is this guy still out there? Is this guy I reported on a little while back? I think it is. I to be honest, totally forgot about him. Yikes. Anti-Bibi bloc inches closer to ousting unsinkable Israeli PM as Netanyahu's last ditch for government rotation rejected. Chinese emissions to turn Beijing into leader of climate business boom as carbon may shapeshift into new currency. Russia invites Saudi Arabia to participate in hydrogen energy production. Enjoy the long weekend. Kamala Harris honors veterans after taking heat for disrespectful Memorial Day tweet. Let's see. Total lockdown to combat COVID-19 will force industries in Malaysia to shut down. Let's see. 5 police officers injured in clashes with rioters. Pardon me. As hundreds of youths flout COVID-19 restrictions in Stuttgart, Germany. Porn literacy teacher gets new wave of outrage from parents over videos about masturbation shown to first graders in New York. And this is what I was kind of pointing out earlier, you know. You think they'd be getting away with this in Russia right now? No. Russia's probably either already got laws or going to be putting in laws to prevent this stuff. In fact, I think they've already got them in place to prevent this stuff. So, yeah. Police officer who was fired after TikTok video mocking NBA social warrior LeBron claims he's the latest victim of cancel culture. And by the way, I know there's several people that would say, well, move to Russia. And I would respond to be, you're okay with this? Really? You know, there has to be some lines drawn. Plain and simple. And when children are involved, there needs some serious fucking lines. Serious fucking lines. And then, after those lines are drawn, you need to go seek out all the people pushing for all this madness. Well, you need to investigate them. We'll start with that. We'll leave it at that for now. Bavarian Premier demands EU accelerate approval of Russia's Sputnik V vaccine. Israel faces change of government as anti-Netanyahu opposition announces agreement. Political BLM and LGBTQ flags should be banned from U.S. embassies, a Republican proposed Stars and Stripes Act says. I agree. Now remember, a little bit ago, I said that those students should be allowed to have Black Lives Matter slogans on their yearbook. This is not the same thing, okay?
Why do I say this? Because, okay, like our servicemen and women, when they're in uniform, they're not supposed to take a political stance on anything. Okay, they're not supposed to discuss their political opinions or anything like that. Right? There's a whole code against it. I think it should be the exact damn same when it comes to our embassies and anything we do domestically or internationally on a diplomatic basis. If you're representing our nation in any way, then all this social justice stuff is a no-no. Man, it worked well for the military for a long damn time, and for good reason. And most of the government had done the same thing. This is all relatively new to where we're doing this stuff, and we're just absolutely, completely cramming our influence just right in the face around the world. Our agendas. No, I'm not okay with it. And it's not what it is, has nothing to do with what it is. I wouldn't want them doing the same as the Second Amendment. I wouldn't want them trying to encourage people of other nations to take up knives against their governments so they could, get guns. I don't know. That's not our place. That's not our place. Ex-cop injures child and police officer in street shooting in Russia. An attacker is detained. Denmark helped NSA spy on Merkel and other European leaders. New reports reveal as Snowden says Biden was deeply involved. Surprise, surprise, huh? And then I got a number one up there. Let's see. Homeless man attacks and knocks down female police officer in San Francisco Chinatown as bystanders rush to help. Well, there you go. There's the headlines. I am getting out of here. I am tired. I am ready for bed. So anyway, I hope you all have a good night. Probably be only on Patreon tomorrow night for the live portion, but YouTube will get the headlines afterwards. So anyway, I hope you all have a good evening and a good Memorial Day, and let's take some time to think about those that gave the ultimate. So have a good night. God willing, we'll see you tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit, and shalom.